All right. Well, thank you for coming to the waiting team call tonight, Fred and Mike. And I wanted to welcome anybody who's listening via YouTube. But I wanted to say there seems to be some confusion about my paying ads and how to work it. Um, I started out with $5, and now I'm up to roughly 120 um, in residuals just by putting in my shares daily. And as the shares grew, of course, they accumulate more each day. One thing I do is I click on my ads. There's 10 ads you can click on, and I do it 2 and sometimes 3 times a day. But some people seem to be confused concerning that. They think that the more ads they click on, the more credits they'll get for their advertising. That's not the case. You get credit for your ads by buying more shares. And but basically, the longer you're online, the longer you're accumulating uh, your share bonuses, uh, you'll find out that you'll get more and more shares if you add them on a daily, even twice daily basis. So what I'm encouraging people to do is to click on their ads 10 at a time and do it 2 or 3 times a day, because no, you don't get extra credits by clicking on the ads. You don't get any credits at all. But it does set the clock back to 24 hours each time you do that. So whenever you set the clock back 24 hours, you're keeping the clock running, which is important. If it gets down to zero, the clock stops and you no longer earn money. So we want to earn money by keeping the clock running. So what I'm doing, what I want to suggest is each day when you think about it, and it doesn't have to be frequently. And like I say, you don't accumulate credits by clicking on ads. So all it does is reset the clock back to 24 hours. So that's important to remember. And each time you go and click on your 10 ads, immediately go down and say under finances, purchase shares. So you go there and it'll tell you how many shares you have. Sometimes it's $2, sometimes it's $3, sometimes it's more, sometimes it's a little less. For me, it's been averaging about $3 twice a day, and it accumulates each day, each more and more each day as I add those shares. So let's say I have 3 shares in there. I can choose once I have 100 credits on each tier. You're allowed to go to the next tier up and buy credits. Of course, they're more expensive. Like I'm only working on tier 1 and tier 2. Tier 1 is $1 a share. Tier 2 is $3 a share. So right now I have about 120 shares on tier 1, and I have 20 shares on tier 2. So it's up to you if you want to spend money. I don't recommend it because you can do very well in a fairly short time simply by reinvesting the money that you're making uh, as you build up your credits, as you build up your money. So each time whatever you say, you take the two totals and you add them together, and it'll tell you. You say you have $2.83 total. Well, you can't do fractions. You can only do $2. So say you want to buy $2 in the $1 column, which is tier 1. So when you do that, all right, Ted, I'll talk to you later.
But you've got to have a dollar, right?
Right, you have to have at least $1.
Okay.
And if you want to buy shares, you have to have at least $5.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so I don't really recommend that because you can do very well just by doing by reinvesting. If you want to speed it up, if you want to add more and more, then by all means buy it. It can be a pretty good bargain, and I don't know if it'd be worth it or not. It's totally up to you. So, oh dear, Zach.
Elizabeth?
Oh,
It was my phone. I'm sorry.
that's okay. So that's basically what I wanted to talk about. Each time you do that, reinvest the money and build your shares up, 2, 3 at a time. You'll find yourself making more and more each day. That's basically it. So, is there any questions, Fred or Mike? You have any questions?
No, I've been doing it, but it's very slow.
Right. Well, initially it is slow, but it builds up. It builds pretty fast once you get going.
Okay. I think I've got 19 cents.
Oh dear.
Some kind of crazy number. It's
Yeah.
and I've been doing it for nearly a week, I think.
Yeah. Well, initially it does take time, but
Yeah.
so. Mike, how about you? Any questions? Mike. Well, they act as multipliers. As you're getting more and more shares, you get more and more money from your shares. Like for instance, I think the return, if you buy a $3 share, the total return daily is $3.60. So for each one, so I have 20 shares, so I should make about 60 cents each day, and add that to my total. And you're allowed to have up to 200 shares on each tier, except for tier, I think tier 7 is the last one. You can have up to 2,000. Of course, that's the expensive one. That's a lot of money, and you're making big bucks by then, so you don't really care. So you start low and you'll work high. But that's not why I'm doing this. I'm not doing it to make money. I'm doing it so I can get views of my website. And I've used
Has that done any good for you?
so far. I haven't had any signups, but I see quite a few clicks on my site. Well, say for instance, you got the $3 at the tier 2. For each share you buy, you get 60 views. So if you buy 3 shares, which would be $9, or $6, then 2 shares, then you get 120 views, and you can build those up and allot them to different websites. So you're allowed to have as many sites as you want, so long as you have credits to put into them.
How do you build an ad?
Mike, you're better at that than I am, but I'm using Weebly, and it's a free site, and Mike can train you better than I could. I have some knowledge of it, but Mike's the true expert.